he fell in love with a strongly melanated woman. So my mom was kind of more dark.
What is the name of your mom?
My mother is called Monica Odongo Majonjo.
Is she still alive?
My parents, both of them are alive.
Okay, that's
so
good.
the time they now fell in love and he decided to get married to this lady, I became an enemy to his own parents. My father now became kind of an outcast in the family, and they kind of never wanted.
Why? Because of his complexion?
Yeah, because they were feeling like this woman is going to bring us grandchildren who are of a color we don't want.
The melanin color? Yes,
and to prove their point, they are first.
So you mean your dad was albino?
Not albino, he's just African, but some people could even think he's a Mzungu. Yes, so he was.
That is albino in Kijaluo Midondo.
Maybe you're right.
Good.
Yeah, so when our firstborn came, called Judith Akite Majonjo, she was actually as black as my mom. So the hatred went to another level.
As black as your mom?
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, so the hatred went to another level.
Why?
They were saying, now, we don't want this kind of grandchildren in our home. My biological grandfather and grandmom wanted to literally kill my dad. So when he had also almost taken a spear, wanted to spear my dad, and he had another brother.
What happened? Were you in jail once upon a time?
Yes, I was. And okay, I can say this, though it's a deep thing.
What happened? What happened? Ni nini ilifanyika mpaka ukajipata ya kwamba umepelekwa gerezani? What happened, my friend? Can you tell us?
Look for time. We get to pray jointly over your issue.
Exactly.
So we arranged that at some point he came with another man of God, and we prayed that day. It was on 23rd of October. I remember the date. So we were praying and we were asking God, if indeed somebody interfered with my destiny, give us a sign.
Exactly. Ujambo mtazamaji wangu, kwa mara nyingine tena na kukaribisha ndani ya Addtech TV. Kumbuka kwamba tumekuwa tukikuletea kipindi hiki cha Dunda na Wasanii kila siku ya Alhamisi, lakini leo tumekuja asubuhi na mapema. Karibu sana. Najua unanitazama ukiwa pale nyumbani, na tumekuwa tukuletea habari kocho ya yote ambayo inatendeka nchini Kenya. Usisahau kututazama kila wakati kwa Facebook, kwa Instagram, Addtech TV. Tuko mbele kila wakati. Waswahili wanasema leo ni leo, asemaye kesho ni muongo. Japokuwa leo itabidi nichanganye ndimi kwa sababu niko na mzungu ndani ya nyumba, na huyu jamaa aonekana kuwa mkale sana. Yani mwandishi, ni msanii mkubwa, tunamuita Majonjo the Poet. Kama wajuavyo, kizungu kilikuja na meli, samaki wakashindwa kukilewa, lakini sisi wanadamu wa nchi kavu tutajaribu sana. Usisahau ya kwamba tunatembea nchi mzima na tunazungumza na kila mtu kutoka tabaka mbalimbali, na ndio maana leo MC Sura Mbaya ndani ya Addtech TV nimekuletea kipindi murwa kabisa, na ningependa nimkaribishe mgeni wetu wa siku ya leo. Yes, good morning sir.
Morning, how are you?
How are you, Mr. Majonjo?
I'm fine, MC Sura Mbaya.
Yes. How is your life?
So far so good. And I thank God.
You look nice.
Thanks.
You look fantastic.
Yeah, it's the work of God.
I like your smile.
Okay.
Good. Welcome.
Thanks so much.
This is Addtech TV.
Yes.
Okay. Can you introduce yourself? Who is Majonjo the Poet?
It could be a long introduction, but Majonjo the Poet is a young man who was born many years ago.
You still call yourself a young man?
I'm still
and
very
you have
young.
Some beard.
I'm still very young.
You are not young, an old man. Okay, continue.
Yes, so he's a young man. I was born many years ago. Being the last
years
born.
Ago?
Yeah, being the last born.
Many years ago?
Yes. So
these are specific, 1980s, 70 or 20?
Okay, let me bring you to that.
Okay.
Yes, so many years ago in the year 1994, a young man was born in the family of Monica Odongo Majonjo and Samuel Majonjo. And this man became the last born in this family. And in fact, from their stories I was told, by then they were not planning to have a kid. So I kind of just surprised them. Yeah, so I came as the last one in the 1994, September on 5th. And surprisingly, 2 years before I was born, my brother had also been born the very, very day on the 5th of September 1992.
Are you the firstborn or last?
I'm the last born, but the brother that I'm following was also born exactly on the very date and the very, very month. 2 years later, 2 years earlier before I was born.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm the last born in our family. I come from Siaya County, in a Barkanyango location. Yes, in a village called Komolo.
Okay.
Yes.
You have a sweet name. Who is Majonjo?
Yes.
Majonjo. Who is Majonjo? Majonjo.
Majonjo is a big name.
A big name.
Very big name.
Okay. Can you differentiate between Majonjo and Majonjo the poet?
Majonjo is now the foundation. That's my surname, that's my father. So Majonjo the poet is just a brand name I'm using. In fact, I call myself the stupid son of Majonjo. Yes.
You call yourself the stupid. Why stupid? And you're not stupid?
To a great extent. I believe I've done like so many mistakes in my life. And I also know too many things that so many people don't know. So sometimes I feel like I cannot really fit in.
You know too many things.
Yes, so by not fitting in, I feel like I'm kind of out of place in so many things. So it makes me feel like I'm kind of stupid.
No, but you're not an outcast. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Majonjo,
Yes.
when did you started to be a writer?
Okay, many years ago, while I was still a very young kid, before I even started class 1, in fact, I skipped nursery school.
So you mean this thing is a call?
Yeah, before I even went to nursery school, I used to just be at home because I'm the last born. So I could go through the books that my other siblings were going through in their school. So I found myself even reading books of even standard 3 kids, standard 2, standard 1. Before I even went, I don't even remember how I started writing. Even the person who taught me how to write, I don't remember. I just found myself doing these things. And in fact, the day I was now being taken to school, I was taken to the headmistress of a school called Oduro Primary. And her name is Madam Anna Odundo. Dina Odundo.
Dina Odundo.
Yes, so we were with another kid actually. And there's an interview she gave us. And I was just told a few things and I did them. And she said, no, this guy should go to class 1. So the other guy went to nursery school. I was taken to class 1. And surprisingly, I became position 1 from that time onwards.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's now my history with writing. So for a long time, even the time I was in prison, I had a friend called George Ambogo. Yeah, he was a good friend of mine. He's a very...
You were once in a prison?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, so in fact, he was telling me, Sylvester, before I die one day, I must read some of your books. Because I could just do some simple articles, share with him. And he was just so much convinced that I'm a writer and I'm sleeping on my talent.
Okay.
Yeah, so until now, Mbog is still waiting for my book and I'm very lazy. So I don't know how soon I'll write a book.
You have accepted that you're very lazy.
And that's why I call myself the stupid son of Majonjo.
Okay. Are you doing this thing out of passion, or is it a call, or both?
Okay.
You see, we have a call,
yes,
and passion. Which come first?
Mine could be a call. Yeah. So passion now just comes to back it up. But mine is more of a call. Because I just find myself doing some things that I've never even imagined I could do. And whenever I do them, I just find myself doing them perfectly. And even there's a time I had my court case and I didn't manage to get an advocate. And that's the time I kind of just became a lawyer from nowhere. So I could just do my own research through the internet and go through the criminal procedure code, the penal code, the constitution. And even when I used to go to court, some people could call me outside the court that you are Sylvester's lawyer. Where is Sylvester? And I could tell them, no, I'm this Sylvester. So they could never believe, like, literally, because by then I was very smart upstairs. And even the time I was also using my attire that I was using at the bank. So I just looked like an advocate naturally. Yeah, so I think I'm just blessed with some unique talents. They just happen.
I can see. I can see. Okay, I can see you are a poet.
Yes.
Do you normally do poem alone, or sometimes you write some plays?
So when it comes to art, you know, art is very broad.
Yeah.
Art is so broad. So I find myself doing so much of arts. I do portraits. I can do string arts. I can customize wall clocks.
You can also direct a play.
Yes, I do all that. I'm also a videographer. I also do graphics and design.
So you are an artist.
So I'm a complete artist.
Okay, how long have you been doing this?
Okay, for a long time while I was growing up, I knew I'm only good at books. I only knew I could only maybe manage to score good marks and go to a national school called Miranda High School. And even while I was at Miranda, I felt
you alumni
yes.
from Miranda.
So Miranda is my
good. Congratulations.
alma mater.
I can see the brain you have.
So I'm actually here to represent Miranda High School.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
What a wonderful show. Sylvester Majonjo.
Yes. Yeah, so it's at Miranda that I was under actually Wings to Fly scholarship program. So by then I was feeling like I have to defend this scholarship because by then I was the only one who was sponsored in the whole Bondo district.
Okay.
So I felt like it's a time I have to defend my scholarship. So I used to really work so hard. And finally in my Form 4 mock exams, I managed an A-.
Okay.
And upon which the bank CEO, Dr. James Mwangi, had promised that whoever scores a B+ and above will start work immediately after the KCSE exams, as we are now waiting for the results.
Okay.
So in the mocks, I managed 76 out of 84 points. That was an A-.
I saw
And
it
in fact,
somewhere.
yes. So in fact, immediately I finished high school, I started working in the bank immediately. So it is later that now I scored the A-plane of 83 out of 84 points.
Okay. Majonjo.
Yes.
Who mentored you?
My mentor. I think harsh life experiences.
Harsh life?
Okay. Have mentored me
Who,
in a way.
what was your dad occupational status?
My dad is somebody I respect so much. He's a resilient man.
Okay.
He's a man, if I get to tell you his story, you can even shed tears.
Okay.
Because kind of he was chosen for a big mission, I think. I think the devil knew I could come through this man. You see, even in the biblical times, you know, the devil is very cunning. Yes, that's the truth. In the biblical times, let me give you a story.
You are an enemy of the devil.
Yes. So in the biblical times, when the devil knew that through Jacob, now his family, through his son, who is Joseph, could be rescued many years later. So when now Jacob went to Laban, his uncle, he really fell in love with Rahel. And he was willing to do anything to get Rahel. So his uncle Laban told him, you have to take care of my sheep for the next 7 years. That's now the process of paying the dowry. So at the 7th year when he was done, he was told, no, you cannot marry Rahel. Leah is the firstborn daughter. So you have to take Leah or anything else. And Jacob knew what he wanted. He wanted Rahel because there's something, a call that God had put in him and could only materialize through this other Rahel. So he said, no, my uncle Jacob, I have no problem. I'll now work for another 7 years. So he went again and did the taking of the sheep for the next 7 years. Upon which at the end of it, he was given the Rahel that he wanted. And in fact, that teaches me that when you're praying for something, don't settle for the devil's things. Because the devil, he has a way of bringing things earlier before you get what you really want.
Majonjo.
Yes.
I can see you enemy to the devil.
Yes. So the devil made sure that Jacob got Leah, who was not chosen by God to be his wife. Then now when he had married these two women, Rahel was very beautiful. The devil went ahead to ensure she was barren for the longest time.
Wow.
So the devil was fighting the destiny of Joseph in all these things. Because you know, through Rahel and through Joseph, these people in many years to come, they'll be rescued through this one man. So that brings me to the story of my father and my mom, because their story is a painful one. When they got married, I'm told I was not there because I'm the last born.
It's a story.
Yes, so I'm told.
A story within a story.
Yes, I'm told
Good.
that. Yes, actually, my father has a light skin complexion. He's very brown. And unfortunately, he fell in love with strongly melanated woman. So my mom was kind of more dark.
What is the name of your mom?
My mother is called Monica Odongo Majonjo.
Is she still alive?
My parents, both of them are alive.
Okay, that's
so
good.
the time they now fell in love and he decided to get married to this lady, I became an enemy to his own parents. My father now became kind of an outcast in the family, and they kind of never wanted.
Why? Because of his complexion?
Yeah, because they were feeling like this woman is going to bring us grandchildren who are of a color we don't want.
The melanin color.
Yes, and to prove their point, they are first.
So you mean your dad was albino?
Not albino, he's just African, but some people could even think he's a Mzungu. Yes, so he was.
That is albino in Kijaluo Midondo.
Maybe you're right.
Good.
Yeah, so when our firstborn came, called Judith Akite Majonjo, she was actually as black as my mom. So the hatred went to another level.
As black as your mom.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, so the hatred went to another level.
Why?
They were saying, now, we don't want this kind of grandchildren in our home. And it even forced them. One day, I'm told, they even wanted to now literally kill my dad.
Because of what?
They didn't want my mom literally in the home.
Okay.
So there's even a time, according to history, my biological grandfather and grandmom wanted to literally kill my dad. So when he had also almost taken a spear, wanted to spear my dad, and he had another brother.
Because of what? Because of what?
No, I can say it was the devil working against my mom and dad, because they knew through this couple, there's somebody great that is going to be born.
Majonjo, the poet.
Probably. Yes, so actually you could take it to be so normal. But I think it was not normal. It was the devil at work, because many years later, the things that happened to me personally were so different, and they've shaped my life differently from all my other siblings. So it reached a point they wanted actually to kill my dad, and one of his siblings, who was actually crippled in a way, and he was loved by their mom and dad. So he told them, if you have to kill Samuel, you have to kill me first. So it is at this point that they kind of turned down and said, no, you're not going to kill him, but let him pack his things and go. So it's at that time that now my dad went to his uncle's place, a brother to his father. So that's when he was still young, a young man, he went and moved there. So actually now that became our new home, literally. So he stayed there for some time, and because East or West, home is best.
Home is the best.
Yes, so as much as he was there, he was kind of welcome for some time, but he started feeling that he was no longer a guest. Yes. So it's not at that time that he hatched a plan with my mom to now come to Nairobi and just start life from anywhere.
I'm feeling your story, my friend.
Yes, it's a true story. And now, when he now came to Nairobi, his occupation was mostly a security guard.
Okay, your dad?
Yes, that was his occupation.
What about your mom?
My mom, for some time, she ventured into the business. She was doing chapati and magondo. Yes, so after some other time, something happened in the year 2001. My eldest brother lost his wife, called Jacqueline. So we had two options. Either she was to be buried in Langata or taken home. She died while she was giving birth.
Okay,
so the two of them succumbed.
Sorry.
Yes, so the options were that she's either buried in Langata or taken home, and we didn't have somewhere to call home, because by then my father had nowhere actually to call home.
Exactly.
So the only option that was available was him to approach his uncle, though his uncle was also dead by then. So the only person who was there was my step-grandmom and her sons. So after a lot of talks, they finally agreed that we should now take the body of Jacqueline to bury in their place. So it's after the burial that my mom, I think it was my mom's idea, but I also think it was God actually guiding everything.
Good.
So my mom decided that she's not coming back to Nairobi. So after the
she went back home.
So after the funeral, we just remained at home.
Okay.
My mom, my sister, and I, the three of us. Yeah, my sister called Janet Akinyi.
And where is Janet Akinyi?
Yeah, she's currently staying in Nairobi.
In Nairobi?
Yes.
That's good.
So it's during this time that we now started living at our step grandfather's home, and it was not an easy life. It was kind of
It was
harsh, kind of
a thorn in your flesh.
Yes. So by then I was barely 7 years old.
7 years old.
Yes. So sometimes when we were having our meals, the step grandmom could tell her grandchildren.
Omera.
Yes. She could tell them in parables. She was actually talking in parables, and she could tell them in our Hebrew language. Nikoya bende chimono chemba chiemo donge sana. Yes. So which actually means one day we'll be able to eat until we have something left over.
Let me cut it short. What a wonderful morning today. I have a guest. Wow, Sylvester.
Yes.
I love your story.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
You have gone through a lot of things in your life. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, my guest is telling me some of the story. I feel as if I can shed tears, but wow. Sorry.
It's okay.
Don't worry.
It's okay. It's so
MC sura mbaya. Leo tumebadilisha lugha. Tunazungumza lugha ya Kizungu kidogo tunajaribu. Lakini niko na mgeni wangu hapa siku ya leo ndani Addtech TV. Tumesema kwamba Addtech TV kila siku ya Alhamisi tunakuletea kipindi chako cha Dunda na Wasanii. Usijali, is a poet. Yeye ni mtunzi. Kwa Kiswahili tunasema yeye ni malenga, lakini anatunga kwa kutumia lugha ya Kimombo. Kwa hivyo kazi yake ni mzuri sana, na amezungumza kidogo kuhusu maisha yake, na wakati mwingine tunapitia mengi sana. Hiyo ilikuwa ni awamu ya kwanza. Sasa nataka tuingilie kwa story sasa, na mtazamaji wangu tafadhali usitoke, usibanduke ndani ya Addtech TV. Niko na mambo mengi hapa tunataka tuzungumzie kuhusu siku ya leo, na pia nataka nimjaribu kidogo kama naweza zungumza lugha ya Kiswahili, kwa sababu sisi wa Kenya we have national language and national language and official language. Tulikuwa tunatumia official. Nataka nimjaribu tu sekunde 3 tu ama sekunde 5 nione kama naweza zungumza Kiswahili kwa ufasaha, au sivyo? Sylvester, welcome, feel at home.
Asante,
nataka tuanze moja kwa moja. I've gone through your poem. There is one of the poem with the title Less of my story, more of my mystery. So ninataka tu kidogo uzungumzie ukitumia lugha ya Kiswahili. Kiswahili kikikushinda tutaenda kwa lugha ya Kimombo. Sekunde 2 tu. Less of my story, more of mystery. Sawa.
Asante. Hiyo tukibadilisha kwa hii lugha yetu tutasema kwamba zaidi ya hadithi ni ajabu. Sasa hiyo ndio shairi langu la kwanza. Na nitaelezea tu tena kwa ile lugha yetu ya Kiingereza.
Naona ninakutesa.
Asante.
Okay, twende kwa lugha ya Kiingereza.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Yes.
Can you tell us something about this your poem about less of my story, more of mystery? Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So it's simply a continuation from where we left.
Okay, where did you come with this story, this topic? What happened?
The way I was just narrating before, my life has had so many shifts
and challenges.
Too many of them.
So you decided to come with something like this?
Yes. So this is after I was from prison. Actually.
Okay. Yeah. What happened? Were you in jail once upon a time?
Yes, I was. I was jailed.
You were in jail. For how many years?
For 2.5 years. That's why I'm telling you.
2.5 years.
Yes, at CIGK prison.
365 days.
Yes.
Times 2, divide by 2, add to 2 years.
Yes. So it was literally 30 months because we have 12 months in a year. That's 24 plus half of 12.
They count day and night, or
for some time in the past, they could count day, and they could count you half day, half night. So they could count like in a single day, they could like count it as 2 days.
like
But now we have the normal working hours of a normal human being being 8 hours, the normal sleeping hours. So the government shifted the remission to be now a third of a day. So out of 24 hours, they only give you a remission of eight sleeping hours. So out of the 3 months, the 3 years, 2.5 years comes to 30. So they only give you a remission of a third of it, which is a third of 30 is 20 months. So I served 20 months in prison.
20 months in prison?
Yes.
In jail?
Yes. Yes. And I saw, in fact, it's the point I came to realize that God is so real. It's not a story. God is so real. And in fact, I think when you are naming your children in the future, I would advise be very careful of the names you choose for your children. Because I'm Sylvester Anyiko, and I was named after a man called Joseph Anyiko.
Anyiko.
Yes. So the story of the biblical Joseph has been my story all along.
Okay.
The way he had like so many enemies growing up, in fact, his own household. The way he got into prison, and coming out of prison, he became somebody. And okay, I can say this, though it's a deep thing.
What happened? What happened? Ni nini ilifanyika mpaka ukajipata ya kwamba umepelekwa gerezani? What happened, my friend? Can you tell us?
Okay, in 2017, no, let me come back to 2016.
2016.
2016, I was in my second year at the University of Nairobi.
Wow.
Pursuing electrical engineering.
Good.
Yes, so...
You are a great man.
Yes, I guess. I saw something...
Kuwahaga, lakini kabla sijawaaga ningependa kumkaribisha.
Yes, I've been into church.
So you are born again?
I'm born again.
Not born againist.
I'm born again, literally, and I love God. And in fact, let me ask you.
Yes.
Do you really believe you are created in the image of God?
Of course. I'm the image. Exactly.
Because it says, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 28, it says, let us now create man in our own image after our own likeness.
Exactly.
So it means if you believe you're in the likeness of God, what's your skin color?
Black.
You're black.
In complexion, or chocolate.
And
let me use chocolate in complexion.
And you're very black.
I'm black. I'm not black as this phone. This phone is black. Do I resemble this?
Yes, so we are actually not black. We are not black.
Okay.
We have the color of God himself.
Exactly.
And if I tell you that God is black, will you believe it?
Why not?
Yes, but have you been seeing the portraits of the so-called, they call it the portraits of Jesus? What color is it in normally?
White.
Yes, so there are so many lies that we've been sold to as Africans.
With Muzungu.
For the longest time.
Good.
And you know, even the time Pharaoh was killing the Hebrew children, he could not manage to kill all of them. Moses was preserved by God. And when the time Herod was now killing the newborn babies in Bethlehem, he could not kill all of them because God preserved Jesus Christ. I call him Jesus Christ, not
Jesus Christ.
You know, I don't call him.
Why?
No. You know, Daniel says, for those who know their God will do great things.
So what is the difference between Jesus Christ and Yesu Christo?
Yes.
Because Yesu is in Swahili.
Okay.
Jesus Christ is in English.
Okay.
Is there any theory?
Yes, I can give you a theory to prove the point.
Just prove.
Our God has a name. Yes. And the name of his son, because if you read John chapter 14, verse 14, Yesu Christo, our Christ now, he says, ask for anything in my name, and it shall be granted. So, in Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, we are told that my people perish, not the devil's people. God is talking about his people.
Exactly.
Yes. So he says, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
And wisdom.
Yes. So as long as you don't know your God, as long as you don't know the name of your God, you'll always perish.
So you mean you have the knowledge about God?
Yes, I have so many revelations. In fact, we are going to do one here. Because when the white people came to our land many years ago,
Muzungu.
Yes, let me call them that. They did so many things because actually, creation of man started in Africa, and we have the evidence. Even if you look at the carbon dating theories.
Are you sure?
Yes, if you, the earliest archaeological findings, we have the oldest fossils found in somewhere in Turkana. That is in Kenya. And in fact, to prove to you, we are the original human beings. The black people, we have a 9 series.
So you mean Muzungus are fake or counterfeit of Africans?
We'll come to that. Let me give you my point. So in fact, if you look at our DNA, we have a 9 series DNA. And the Mzungus have a 6 series DNA.
What do you mean?
Like we are the original human beings, and creation started with us.
Good.
And even the biblical stories of the Israelites and everything else, they are centered in Africa. And even the Israel they invented in the map, it's just to confuse us. Yes. Because actually Jesus Christ, okay, let me say Jesus Christo was a black man. And they changed so many things. Let me just explain. You know, it looks funny. It looks funny.
Take me back to school. Take me back to school.
No, let me still explain to you
exactly
this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why I was bringing you to the point of Jesus Christ and everything else. Yeah. So many things happen that okay, we can get time some other time and I'll explain them. But there are so many funny things that happen in this. We were the ones who started writing. Actually, civilization started in Africa. And now, because the white men, they knew everything, they took them to the archives in the Vatican. They've hidden so many secrets in the Vatican archives. Yes, but God ensured that we still have some traces of the truth. Because if you read the Bible, in I can just give you 2 verses. If you read chapter 10, verse 6, if you read that verse, you find that he saw a man who was adorned in very great clothes. In fact, Jesus Christ had a belt of gold, and Daniel saw his hands and his feet were as polished brass. And this polished brass, if you look at it, if you research, you find it's actually this color that we have. And if you read also Revelation chapter 1, verse from verse 14 and 15.
So you mean Africans are the real people?
We are the real, and even the white people, the white people know about it.
Oh, wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yes, so if you read also Revelation chapter 1, verse 14 and 15, John is also being given the same revelation that Daniel was given. And he sees Jesus Christo in the same color that Daniel saw him. It's a big research that God who revealed this thing to me for a good reason, because as Africans, we've been made to believe for the longest time that we are very inferior. We are good for nothing. And even look at the map of Africa. When you look at map of Africa,
the shape of the map.
If you look at the shape,
it's
actually a signature that God left on his land. Because as any artist, like even when I do a portrait, I always sign off. So for God himself to prove to us that Africa is the land, because God says that he made the earth, and in the east of the garden, he placed Eden. Yes, on the east of earth. So you find that after creation.
So you mean Eden was in Africa?
Of course, it's in Africa.
Which part of Africa?
I'll bring you to that later.
Majonjo the greatest.
Yes, these things are true. So let me bring you to the Jesus Christ and the Jesus thing.
Good.
So after taking away our written materials and even taking away our ancestors who could tell us the truth, they went ahead and distorted so many things. The Bible we have right now is so much distorted. It just has some traces of the truth, but so much is distorted. Because God could not have... Do you know why Ethiopia was not colonized?
How many books are supposed to be in the Bible?
Because our ancestors who wrote them are not there, I cannot explain, but they are over 80. And in fact, if you read the book of Jubilees, it's also called the Small Genesis. You find the creation story. It explains so many things about Africa being the land of...
And who came with 66?
It's the white men. It's the white men. And in fact, let me tell you, even the alphabet was actually written by our ancestors when they were still slaves in Egypt. And now what they did, they took away everything actually from us. They went and manipulated so many truths. And if you read Revelations chapter 13, verse 18, we are told about the mark of the beast, which is actually the number of a man, and it's actually 666. And the book says, it calls for wisdom for any man to calculate this number.
Exactly.
So this is what happened. Our God has a son called Jesus Christo.
Yeah.
And we also have Lucifer, the enemy of God.
Jesus Christ.
Not Jesus Christ.
No, why?
Not Jesus Christ. In fact, it's not Jesus. It's not Jesus.
What's the difference between
There's
Jesus
a difference.
Christ
I'm going
Jesus
to bring you to the
Okay.
difference.
Prove it.
Now, in the 1600s, they brought us an early alphabet that had around 26 letters. So in the 1600s, they changed so many things, including the map. They even changed the alphabet.
Okay.
And in fact, before 1600s, if you could read River Tana in Kenya, it was being called River Zion. In the old maps before 1600.
River Zion.
Yes. So actually, Mount Kenya is Mount Zion, literally.
What do you mean? Mount Kenya is Mount Zion?
Yes. Yes, these are deep revelations. Like I'm from another world, let me say so. So what happened? The 1600s, living along the map thing, they reintroduced 3 letters in the alphabet, which was J, U, and W. And intentionally, they made J to be number 10.
J to be number 10.
Yes.
God, J to
They made U to be number 21.
U to be number 21.
And W to be number 23.
W to be number
23.
23.
Yes. So I want us to do a math. It's a simple math.
Exactly.
Yes. So if you can write the name Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Yes.
L-U-I-C-F-E-R.
Yes.
Lucifer.
Yes. So
Lucifer.
I also write the name Jesus.
Jesus. Jesus.
Yes.
Good.
So I want you to do some maths.
Okay.
So L is number 12 in the alphabet. I want you to add all of them.
Okay. Number 12.
Then U is number 21.
Number 21.
C is number 3.
3.
I is number 9.
Number 9.
Then we have F as number 6.
F
is
as number 6.
E is number 5.
E number 5.
Then R is number 18.
R is number 18.
Yes. So if you sum up all those, what do you get? You can do the calculation with your calculator.
12 plus 21. That is ngapi?
Do the math.
12 plus 21. That is 23.
No, 33.
No. 33 plus 3.
36.
That is 36. 36 plus 9.
45.
45. 45 plus 6.
51.
51. 51 plus 5.
56.
56 plus 18. 74.
Yes. And that is 74.
74.
Write down the name Jesus now.
Jesus.
Yes. So J is number 10.
Number 10.
E is number 5.
5.
We have S as number 19.
Number 19.
U is number 21.
21.
And we have S again as number 19.
Number 19.
So add the numbers.
Okay. 15 plus 19.
34.
That is 34. 34 plus 21. 60 what?
34 plus 21, 55.
55 plus 19. That is 74.
Yes. The same number as Lucifer.
Okay.
So do you think it's normal that the name Jesus and Lucifer could have the same number? It is a hidden thing because that's in Revelations we are told it calls for wisdom to calculate the number. So they hid it at 74. Then we have the single largest number. When you start numbering, start from 0 to 9. So the single largest number is 9. So take 74 multiplied by 9. What do you get? Just do the multiplication. I don't want to force you with my maths.
Is it 666?
Yes. So how could we have God sending us a son called Jesus, who was the same number
with the same
as Lucifer?
As Lucifer.
So because they knew it was intentional. It was very intentional.
So you mean this is the work of white men?
Yes, that's the work of the white men.
Muzungu?
Yes. And in fact, there's a way Jesus calls them in the Bible, which I'll not come to that now. It's a deep thing. So actually, God revealed to me that he's actually black. I've also had encounters with God some other times. I'll get to that later. And
wow.
Yes, it's the truth. These are true things. So our God is as black as, because he says he never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Yeah. So when they came to the point of saying, let us now create man in our own image and after our own likeness, they meant business. So they were black people who sat down. They were black heavenly beings.
What a wonderful story, our dear viewers.
Yes.
Majonjo, the
Yes.
greatest. Majonjo, the poet. Back
Yes.
to
So,
our story number one, our
yes.
topic number one. Can you elaborate on this poem number one?
Yeah, less of my story and more of a mystery. I can say this. My life took a different twist.
When you went to jail?
Yes, so I was in my second semester, and some funny things started happening, and I kind of just lost focus.
Exactly.
And in losing focus, because the devil uses what you love to tell you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the devil knew my strength is in God and is in church, because I do so many things. Actually, apart from these other artworks,
I can see.
I also play the keyboard. I also
You
sing.
are a keyboardist?
Yes, I can do keyboard, I can sing.
Lakini hujanyoa nywele kama keyboardist.
No, I'm in the image of God, so I have to protect the image of God.
That's good.
Yes, so I used to do so many things in church. So it is through the church that I met some lady and we kind of started dating.
Exactly.
So in the process, yes.
Your better half, looking for your better half.
I was not looking because, God, He cannot give you a wife.
What were you doing?
Yes, I was still a student, so I want to bring it to the point.
Okay.
Before God brought Eve to Adam, He first of all created Adam and gave him some roles.
Yeah.
And after giving him the roles, that is now the time He now brought a helper. So when you get to a point you're marrying, before you have something to do, then means you're not yet at the right destiny. No, you are not at the right place. So before you complete the things, because like my education was through a scholarship. So there's no way God could take me through a very painful process that cost people so much through the Wings to Fly program. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity, actually. Because they came through for me at a time I had already lost hope. I was actually contemplating going back to repeat my class 8. So it's the time that the Wings to Fly came through the MasterCard Foundation. And I was actually sponsored for my 4 years in Maranda High School. Yeah, so because it was God who did it. In fact, it is my sponsorship that made me to kind of get so much into God, because it was more of a miracle. Because in the whole nation, I'm the only one who was never called for the interviews. There were people...
You go without interview?
Yes, the people in the selection panel, they just made, after filling the forms, they came to our home. And they just gave me some interview. And they said after a few days, you're going to shortlist the people who are qualifying for the final interviews.
So after a few days, you were shortlisted?
I was not, I don't know what happened, but I was not called for the interview. So I got rumors through my head teacher, who was helping me to push this thing, that the interviews had been done already. And I was not called. So I knew at that time that I've lost the scholarship.
Wow.
So it's after the interview that the bank manager called Jojo Winogol, was the branch manager of Bondo Equity Bank by then. He called my head teacher, called Caleb Ubonyo, and told him, come with Sylvester to the bank. So I was worried that what's happening? Because the interviews were done, I was not called, and why are we now being called? We weren't actually being very worried.
It was more than a miracle.
It was a miracle. So we went to the bank, and there was a man who had some, he was scary to some extent.
A man of great nyali.
Yes.
A man of its own style.
Yes. So we got to the office, and he asked us, what would you like to take for breakfast? And we just said tea, and he called the secretary who brought it. So when we were taking tea, just in silence, and he said, we did our interviews a few days ago. And we chose Sylvester.
Wow.
Yes. So it was so unbelievable. And they said that the time they came to interview me at our home, they had already made up their minds that I'm the candidate they wanted.
Good.
So you can imagine, in the whole selection that happened in the whole country, I'm the only one who was never interviewed at the interviewing panel.
God works in a different way in your life.
And like, I believe my life is a different one. And that's why the devil has also been able to do so many other things to deter me from the things of God. Because actually there's a time when I was young, there's a certain, I can call her prophetess. She came, I had gone to visit my aunt called Elizabeth, somewhere in Kombewa. I was with my mom. So this woman came.
Kombewa in Seme.
Seme Kombewa, yes.
Good.
So she came, and she was just greeting everybody in the room. So when she got to me, she looked at my hand, and she was just very keen reading my palms. I don't know whether she was a palm reader or anything. So because I was still young, she
A psycho, is it a psycho chin? A psycho, something like a psycho, yeah?
yes, I don't know the right name. Then the woman took my mom outside and told her that I've seen something great in your son. So my mom tried to kind of explain to me, it was kind of a prophecy that I'll be a great man, and in fact I'll be even a leader of this country. By then I could not really understand what was going on. So the things that started happening later in my life started to make me believe that I'm destined for something great.
Exactly.
And that's now the time I was now deferring my studies. It looked so normal. But whatever happened later, I deferred my studies, got married to this lady who was now claiming to be pregnant of me, which I don't deny. I don't know the truth. Whether it was true or not, I don't know. But all I know, it was the devil at work. So I deferred my studies in my second semester. And I started just hustling. I was doing mijengo all over. I was just trying to balance life.
Umefanya mijengo?
I've done all the oddest jobs you can think of. Yeah, so while doing that is the time I just tried, I was in just certain church, and I felt something telling me just apply for the Equity Bank job. So I went to my chairman of the electrical engineering department, and I explained to him, and he said, okay, if that's the case, Sylvester, let me write for you a recommendation letter, take it to the bank. If they'll allow you to work with them, go take your time, work within the shortest time, and then when you settle, come back to campus. So that was 2016 in July. So, and God came through. I applied for the bank job, and I was posted to work at Bondo branch. So my plan was to just work from that July to December. Then January, I was to come back to campus. Things just happened. During the whole of the 4 months I was working, nothing was okay. And I didn't manage to save a single coin for that period.
You didn't manage?
I didn't manage, honestly.
Why?
I did not.
Why?
To me, it seemed like I was not really good at saving. At that point, I felt
Okay.
So it's the time that I reached out to the university, and still it told me, the same chairman told me that if you're not settled, you can just apply for an extension of your contract. And when you're fully settled, that is when you should come. So I renewed my contract. So it happened that I was to work like almost the whole of 2017. Then I was to come back to campus and complete my course in 2018 January. Yeah, so that's what happened. So when it came to around, we didn't have the marriage, the so-called marriage never worked. Like the lady was so toxic, and in fact, I survived so many suicide attempts.
You?
Yes, I tried to kind of take my life.
You want to commit a suicide?
Yes, I wanted to.
Why?
For some good reasons, actually, because I was feeling like I've sacrificed my lucrative cause for the sake of this woman. And my peers were actually going ahead of me.
And things were not working.
And like, she used to frustrate me and tell me so many nasty things. So I was feeling like, is this really worth it? So it reached a point I was feeling, the point imefika, it should even end my life. I thought of even sometimes just standing in the middle of the road and get hit by a car. But God preserved me through all that. So she was on and off in the relationship. So at some point in that 2017, she decided now to go away, but she didn't even go away. She just went to our home. So I was left alone to stay in my house in Bondo. So there was a thing, I think it was still the work of the devil. A guy called Abraham Odhiambo was also posted from Kisii University, was also posted to work at Bondo branch, Equity Bank. So by then I had already worked for some time, and I was actually better off. I was actually more stable than him.
And you know almost everything.
Yes, and I was feeling, for me to block that woman from trying to give me the interference, he explained to me that if I could accommodate him, because he just had a 3-month contract, that if I could allow that we could now stay with him, then he will really appreciate. So I saw it as a good chance that I could now use it as a blockage for the woman not to access.
Kwa hivyo ukamkaribisha.
So I welcomed him, and I never knew now another step 2 that the devil was taking.
In your flesh.
Yes, so we became friends with Abraham. In fact, it is me who was now training him, because the first time he was posted, he was just working at the Equitel desk. So this time he was posted as a cashier. So I'm actually the one who trained Abraham until he became a cashier. So we were so much of friends, actually. So unfortunately, we never used to cook in the house most of the time. We could go take our meals at the hotel and go to the house later. So one evening, I was obsessed with this betting thing. I used to like, I love this virtual gaming, the betting thing. By then, betting was still in Kenya. So there's a time I got some money and I got into the virtual gaming. So I started with some 10,000 on that evening. So I started at around 7 in the night while we were just eating at a hotel somewhere in Bondo. So it was called actually Bondo Resort. So eating there and I was just doing my virtual gaming. By around 9, I had won close to 380 something thousand. Because it was a 2-minute
380 something
around
thousand.
387,000 thereabout. Because it was a game that after 2 minutes you either win or lose. So I tried with the 10K, with an order of around 2, it became at 25,000. I still tried it. I did another one.
What?
It came to 50. So it kept multiplying. So I told my friend, hey, today, leo niko na Kismat. I started with 10 and I'm now at 387. And he told me, no, it's getting late. Let's go to the house and you can continue from there. So we went to the house. I now was kind of just playing safe. I still played with the money and it got to around 454,000. So I felt, no, I should not continue. So I told Abraham, no, when you mefika, let me stop it at this. And in fact, in my heart, I had purposed, I wanted to give Abraham the 50,000 on top, and the 400,000, I wanted to use it to settle myself and ensure I go back to campus and complete my course. So Abraham told me, no, you should not quit. You started with 10K, you can even reach like over 1 million. You just continue that. I told him no. And in fact, I told him the next day I was to go and resign from Equity Bank. Because I told him, we work for money and God has come through for me. And insisted, you cannot just resign like that. Because in future you can get stuck and still want to work with the bank. And they can remember your history and not allow you again. So I was against this thing. So he insisted, and
convince you.
Yes, so I can say it was the devil at work. Yeah, but by then it was just so normal. So the next day he was a very lazy guy. And in fact, it was me who could wake up.
What do you mean?
He was so lazy. So
lazy?
It is me who could wake up, do my things, my cleaning, and now wake him up. And he could only wake up at the last minute. Sometimes like he could just wake up at the last minute and rush to job. So this day, he woke up even before me and did everything else and woke me up and told me, Sylvester, we have to go to work. So after his pressure, I felt, let me just go. So by then I had only withdrawn 140,000 because the M-Pesa limit was then 70,000 per transaction. You can only do around 140,000. So I transacted 140 to my M-Pesa.
Account.
So 310 was still remaining in that account.
Yeah.
So he was still pushing, no, continue, you'll even reach 1 million. So I felt, okay, if I started with 10, indeed, I can get to the 1 million mark. So unfortunately, the next day I was now kind of trying to serve clients and also multitask with my gambling, which was actually virtual. And it needed so much concentration. So for the lack of concentration, I lost all the 310 shillings back to betting.
What?
Yes. So losing this money, like I became so frustrated. And I was so frustrated. So when I shared with them in the evening, I told me, no, don't worry, just relax. So it's at this time I now started I even lost the other one, 140 also got lost later. So I even tried now, because I was feeling, no, I know how to analyze this game and I can do it. I even started now getting into the customer's account, feeling that I can now take money, bet with it privately and deposit without any detection by the bank. Yeah, so I did the first one, like almost 100,000. I debited the client's account. The money went like that. I did another one. It was almost coming. It was so a lot of money. So when I was frustrated, now Abraham told me, no, don't worry. There's a plan. So he explained me to that we can do a bigger plan.
A bigger plan?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, so he explained to me his plan and it was very, very deadly to me. And I said, no, I cannot kill people for the sake of money. So if you are to do this, no, let me not do it. So I told him a different thing. I told him, okay, maybe you can siphon some millions from the bank. I had the urge to recover my money.
Yeah.
And to me, it was so normal. So I was just feeling I'm just doing a normal thing.
Yeah,
but I didn't know it was some kind of a demonic spell. So we arranged how we are going to like almost siphon. It was the target of 200 million for all of us. So we were to send
200 million.
Yes, so we were to send to our friends in their private accounts and give them the instructions how they are going to do the withdrawal. So over the weekends it is the ATM that works most of the time.
Exactly.
So the plan was that on Monday when you got to the bank, when the custodians were now supervising the ATM for the hours, even if it was for 1 or 2 hours, nobody could be there to monitor our ledgers. So it's the time that we are now to send the money and even take some cash and vanish. But me, because I knew myself and even the way the bank had regarded me, the way I was sponsored actually through the bank, I felt no, this thing is going to leave me with so much shame. So my plan was actually to commit suicide immediately after doing this thing. Yeah, so my plan was actually to end my life. So I was feeling like, let me see from this money, it can help my family later. So that was now on a weekend. So on the 25th day of September, 2017, it was on a Monday. In fact, the night before the event now, Abraham, almost in the morning, he told me, no, Sylvester, let us not do this thing. And knowing that I was already charged for it because I'd already lost a lot of money. In fact, I wanted to do this and also refund all the money I'd taken from the client's account. So that I only remain with one case with equity. So in fact, that day I had all the slips in my pocket. I wanted to credit the client's account. So at the last minute, Abraham tells me that, no, let's stop this plan. You're not going to do it. I didn't know the devil was using him to charge me for this. Yes. So I told him, do this. If you are backed off, then kindly do one thing. Don't betray me. Let me just do my thing and let it end like that. So I guess by that time he had gone to the managers. I don't know what really happened. But it strangely happened that the custodians were not going to the ATM in their normal times. So I guess maybe he had already told them the plan that I had. So the guy was to send the cash was also now starting to pressurize me at around 10 in the morning, 25th day of September 2017. So when the pressure was too much, I felt no. Let me just send this money. So actually I credited his account. When I reached the 26 million mark, the bank intercepted. They saw my ledger was blown from nowhere. So by then I had actually gotten into the bank with a bottle containing petrol and a matchstick. So I wanted, after siphoning the money, I was actually...
You do away with your life.
Yes. So I was thinking by then that this is a normal thing. It's normal to commit suicide. It's normal to do all these things. It's normal to steal. So that was actually the plan. So when they intercepted, they told me, no, Sylvester, you have to reverse this money because I'm the one who initiated the transaction.
Exactly.
So I had to now initiate the reversal and they could approve it. So seeing that I was already cornered, I reversed the money. So after reversing it, then they were now going to do the other things. I enclosed myself in some cubicle and tried to kind of commit suicide. I poured the petrol and tried the matchstick over 8 times. And it never lit. So I can say God is real. I can just say literally it was God with me in that place, because you can try petrol and matchstick, it's an explosion. So even the rumor spread that I had burnt myself, I was in ICU, so many things had been said. But God preserved me through that fire. And that's why I tell you, like, the devil has been fighting my life for the longest time. So when this happened, now the DCI were called, I was arrested. And I was taken to custody to the cells.
And what about the Abraham?
Abraham later became the main witness in this case.
Wow.
Yes, and in fact, it is his testimony that was used to convict me on the main charge. So I was detained in the cell for some days. And in fact, I stayed in the cell for 5 days without being taken to court.
And do you still talk with Abraham?
I don't know why. I don't know his whereabouts because I lost my previous phone number. So I don't know, but I don't know. Yes, so I was detained in the cells for almost 5 days, and now the media were pressing to know why is this guy not being taken to court. So on 29th, which was now Friday, I was arrested on 25th, detained. I can say I was detained unlawfully for 5 good days. Because according to the law, after 24 hours, yes. So if they were to do any further investigations, they were first to arraign me in court and ask for the permission of the court to do further investigations. So I was in the cells from 25th to 29th.
Wow.
So on 29th, I was arraigned in court with 1 charge of attempted arson. And I was given a bond of 100,000. So from this bond, now I was now taken to CR remand prison. After which now the processing of the bond started. So after around almost 5 days, the bond was things came through. My friend, a friend came through, and with his title deed, and I got my freedom. So coming out, I used to go to a certain church by that time. So none of the church members even came to see me while I was in the cells, and so many other funny things. So I took it normal to some extent. So when I came out, I still went back to church. And in fact, it's the point I got into this church that my life had a complete turnaround on the negative side now. Because I joined, after my first year, I joined this church when I was in my holidays. So before I went now to my second year, second semester, the pastor called me and told me, no, we need to pray for you. They laid hands on me and prayed for me.
I can see.
So it is from then that I lost focus completely. And now on her side, I could sometimes call her because she had other children who are grounded. So I could call her sometime, Mom, how are you doing? I'm fine. And I was asking her, like, how is so-and-so doing? He told me he had a guy, a young man who had just graduated from college. He told me, no, so-and-so has gotten a job. He has now been posted to Kisumu. And also he's also doing a part-time job at Sky FM. So things were happening on their side. When I asked her about, what about your daughter with Sate? I don't want to call the names. She told me, no, my daughter is now at MKU Kisumu campus. Then what about so-and-so? No, so-and-so is at MKU Thika campus. So it strangely happened that the time I was now getting out of campus, now on her end, things were working. So to me, I took it so normal. I took it very normal. Yeah, so the time even I was working at the bank, I was still in this church. So it just happened that I still used to have so many problems despite being so faithful to the church. And I used to serve God in so many capacities, even with my finances. And when I now came out of remand, I still went to the same church. Because I was feeling maybe they could not come to see me because I had maybe ashamed them by what I had done.
Exactly.
So to me, I thought there were reasons for not coming were justified.
Exactly.
Yes, so I just assumed. I went back to the church. So there's a friend of mine who was actually willing, because I was actually promoted to be a corporate cashier. So there was a friend of mine who was actually willing to help me get an advocate, and to the other extent, help me get back to campus. So I went to his office and I discussed with him, and he said, no, Sylvester, this thing, I'm willing to help you out. In fact, I want to, if God comes through, I'll ensure I get you a good advocate. And as the advocate will be dealing with your case, you should be back to campus.
That's good.
Yes, so that day, my friend, he gave me actually 5,000 shillings and told me, no, use this for transport back home. So I saw like, this is a miracle, another miracle.
It was a miracle.
Yes. So I was feeling like, okay, I'm now into a crisis and God is coming through. So immediately I came from this man's office, I went directly to my pastor's home. And I shared with her the testimony. The man had even given me some fish. Because he does the fish business. He takes fish to Thika.
Exactly.
Yes. So he had actually given me the 5,000 shilling and also a lot of tilapia. So I went to my pastor's home. I gave part of the things to her and shared with her the great testimony. And she said, no, let's glorify God. So she also prayed over it. So after she had prayed over it, like kind of, that was now the last time, my last contact with my friend. We became enemies from then. It became strange that he was never now responding. So before I went to court for my hearing, because I had one charge initially. So before I went for my hearing, the lady pastor advised me that I should go to the church for prayers. So I obeyed because I felt this is the voice of God. So I went for the prayers. So it was strange. After I was from the prayers, I went to court. And the prosecutor stood and said, no, we are not proceeding with the hearing of this case. And he cited the reasons and said, they have amended the accused charge sheet and they have come up with 6 more counts. So from one charge, I had now like another 7 charges to face. And my bond was enhanced from 100,000 to 400. So it was strange because I was from prayers and it was now happening opposite. I felt, no, this is not normal. So they again withdrew my bond. I was taken again to remand prison at CI again. And now after 2 weeks, I had actually lost hope. So after 2 weeks, when I came to court, the magistrate was handling my file in court 2. Honorable Wasike was not around. So all the files were taken to court 1, which was being handled by the principal magistrate of Bondo. By then was Honorable Moses Obiero. So when Obiero opened my file and he asked me, Sylvester, are you from home or from remand? And I told him, no, I'm from remand prison. And he told me, no, this is very unjust. There's no way a court can hold your document, whose value is even more than $1 million, and hold you for a bond that is of 400,000 in terms of value. This is very unlawful. So the man wrote a few things in my court file, and he ordered my immediate release. So to me, this was another miracle.
You were released after that?
I was released like that. So after my release, I now went back to church. In fact, it was on a Wednesday. So I felt this is a miracle. And now I should go and thank my God. It was our day. It
was a miracle.
Yes. Yeah. So I felt it's a time to go and thank God for whatever he has done. So when I went to the fellowship, I was not received well. It was a very cold reception. And in fact, the pastor and even our kids and the people who knew about this thing, they were really, really mad. They were kind of sad to see me. And even the sermon, whatever they preached was kind of just to attack me indirectly. So listening to this sermon, I said no. So it means maybe they have a hand in whatever I'm going through. I just assumed by then. So I didn't know. So after so many years, actually, I'm at this point because it is God who revealed to me whatever my enemies did long time ago.
Exactly.
So it is recently that I got into so much prayers, and because this is now my 7th year in suffering, let me say. And 7, is a number of breakthrough, number of restoration, a number of rest.
Exactly.
So I've been in prayers, and I was asking God, as you did to Job, kindly restore me. Because in Joel 2:25, God says, I'll restore to you all the years that the swarming locust and all those the armies did. I'll restore to you. So while I was in the prayers for restoration, I was kind of struggling alone by then. Then God miraculously brought another man of God who came to Nairobi for a mission. So this man of God is called Evangelist Morris Nguato. So when Morris came, we became friends. So he used to pass by where I do my artwork business. We could never talk for a long time. So one day we started opening up and started sharing the word and so many things. And he told me, my friend, when you tell me your story and I look at you, this is not your life. This is not the place you should be.
Exactly.
And I also narrated to him my long story, and he said, no, there's something fishy. Look for time, we get to pray jointly over your issue.
Exactly.
So we arranged that at some point he came with another man of God, and we prayed that day. It was on 23rd of October. I remember the date. So we were praying and we were asking God, if indeed somebody interfered with my destiny, give us a sign.
Exactly.
It was a simple prayer. So God gave us a sign immediately. That night when the man of God went to retire to his bed, he started receiving some spiritual warfare from a certain woman who was actually asking him, why are you helping Sylvester?
A certain woman?
Yes.
And do you know her?
Yes, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So because we had asked God for a sign, God responded immediately. Our God is so real, literally, he's very real. So the next day, on 24th now, the man had attacks at night. He went for evangelism during the day. We did not meet. So I also just went about my normal course. So at around 3:12 in the evening, that former pastor, she's a lady, she texted me from the blues. We don't talk nowadays, we don't talk. So out of nowhere, she just texted me on WhatsApp and just wrote some 2 words, DR. And because I said my
DR means what?
I don't know what the meaning was.
DR, D and R.
DR and R, and just sent it like that. So my account, my business account.
Did you responded?
Yeah, so my account, I set it in a way that because it's a business account, you can text me when I'm actually not around. So there's an immediate text it sends to you. So the text was sent to her immediately. Then when I went to online, I found a text and I just told her in Luo and told her, hello, ma'am. Yes, I was just telling her, long time, praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Yes. She never responded. So she did not respond.
Until today.
Yes. So she never responded. So it is afterwards that I realized, no, we asked God for a sign yesterday. It could be that this is a sign that this is the enemy we are dealing with. This is the person who stole my destiny, probably. Jointly with others that I cannot say. So when the man of God came in the evening from his mission, he told me, Sylvester, a certain lady disturbed me at night. He gave me the description.
That was a
revelation on 24th. 24th of October. I have even the screenshots on my WhatsApp. So this man, the evangelist called Morris Ngwato, was telling me a certain lady was attacking him at night and asking, why are you helping Sylvester?
Wow.
So I think they were using these Magini spirits. Exactly. So like it's literally, they've been monitoring everything I do for the last 7 years.
Exactly.
So I told him, even also for my side, strangely, because he gave me the description and it was the same description of this woman. She has a big body and everything. So I also told him, no, even the same woman you're saying attacked you also sent me a message and just wrote DR without saying any other thing. So we said conclusively, because we had prayed to God on 23rd about a sign.
Okay, let me cut you short. What's the meaning of DR?
No, I think it is just God who compelled her to text me for me to know she's the enemy while we were praying about the previous day. Because we told God, give us a sign of whoever did the things that made me to get into this situation.
Exactly.
Yes, so from then we knew this is the enemy we were dealing with. And now we started praying more and more. And there were too much attacks afterwards. Even my business, there were too many attacks. So almost a week, almost close to a week later or so, the man of God said, no, we are winning this battle, but we need to also get serious with God. And God is saying we need to get to a prayer, a one-day prayer and fasting in the mountain. So I told him, okay, if it is God speaking, let's do it.
Then you went. So
that was on 2nd of November.
This year or last year?
This year.
This year?
Yes, it was 2nd on a Thursday that we are now going for the prayers.
Okay.
So the voice came on first, which was on Wednesday. God spoke through him that he should get to the mountain. So on Thursday we obeyed the voice of God and we went to pray in some mountain, just around the estate. So we decided everybody was to go to his own prayer cave and pray, and we were to converge later and discuss what has God spoken to each of us.
And you shared the notes.
Yes. So I got into my prayer session and I prayed sincerely. And after that first break, God just spoke a voice and was telling me, I'm killing Pharaoh for your sake.
Wow.
So, sometimes sometimes you can think it's just you thinking about something. Then it is really God speaking. So I got to the second session, I prayed. God sent me the same message again, that I'm killing Pharaoh for your sake. So when we converged, even the man of God told me he had also received the same signal.
The same signal.
So we didn't know that while we were praying in the mountain, God had started doing some things in the background.
Okay.
So strangely or coincidentally, that very Thursday, that woman, pastor, and her husband, they were going for a funeral near our home.
What?
Yes, and God compelled them to go and park their car in our home. They are now blessed. They have their car. Their sons are driving. They are doing well. They are doing well since I started getting down.
What do you mean? They parked their car in your home?
In our home, in the village. I didn't know what was happening. So while we were praying, God had started doing that. So when it reached 5 in the evening, we came out of the mountain and we were just now praying to God. And actually, God gave us a sign, because anytime I get into prayers and when I see clouds or when it rains, I know God has answered my prayer. So immediately we got out of the mountain at 5. We were rained on thoroughly on the way home. And we were just thanking God, thank you for answering our prayers. So the next day, that night now, that very Thursday night, the same woman now came spiritually to the man of God. And she was lifting her hands and saying, nimekubali, mmenishinda, like I've surrendered.
Kwa hivyo huyo mwanamke saa hii hayupo duniani?
No, she's there. Let me come to what happened.
Okay.
There's a way God works.
Okay.
So I just went and slept. So on Friday, so many things happened in the spiritual world. Others I cannot talk about now.
Exactly.
So on Friday, which was now 3rd, at around 11:23 a.m., that same woman called me now literally on WhatsApp. She was now calling me literally, yes.
Video calling?
Yes, video calling. and I'd been instructed never to pick her calls. So I refused to pick the call, and she hung up. So I didn't know, I don't know what their plan was, but God was actually communicating to me that something is happening. So I just did my things, and I was just relaxed. So in the evening, my mom called me to tell me, hey, my son, how are you doing? I told her I'm fine. She told me, no, something strange has happened, that yesterday, so-and-so came and parked their car in our home. And when they were now getting out, they got stuck. I don't know, it had rained, I think so. But to me, I think it is God who caused them to get stuck.
Yeah, to stuck.
So mom was explaining to me that they got stuck in our immediate neighbor's home, and they had to leave the car there and walk home on foot. So mom was now telling me that today when the man was coming for the car at around noon, he fell by the road and just died instantly. So I connected with what God was telling me the previous day, that I'm killing Pharaoh for your sake. The man died while walking on the 3rd of November last month. This is a true story. I'm not.
What about the wife?
No, God is doing other things. So I don't know. It is now the battle is in the hands of God. So in fact, it is at that time that I now came back to my senses and started thinking about going back to campus, because for a long time I had never felt like going back, like they kind of had taken my mind and caged it somewhere. So it is at that time that I felt I should not go to campus, and that's why I'm actually doing my funds drive now. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Majonjo, your story is too long.
Too long, and yes.
Yeah.
It shall be well again someday. And the poem goes, it teaches us to wait upon him and never to quit. Even when upon our prayers it seems so quiet and we're not ready to wait, for surely he will come to our rescue without fail. And never will he ever forsake us, nor give us any reason to wail. It shall be well again someday, and all the painful and black things of Monday, all from us God will have taken away. And we will smile again and be happy as it is a Furahi day. And we will again remember our faithful God, and on a Sunday, we will rush to his sanctuary to give him thanks, worship him, and pray. It shall be well again someday. Indeed, he has always come to our rescue at the 11th hour. When on our deathbed, people are just counting and waiting for just an hour. To us, he has always proven to be a strong tower, and to him forever belongs all the glory, honor, and power. The stupid son of Majonjo. That's my favorite piece. It's about hope, and it's telling us it shall be well again someday. So still stay tuned in and watch. You can follow me on my Facebook page, Anyiko Sylvester. And also tune in to watch Addtech TV, Dunda na Wasanii every Thursday. It's a great show, and they'll never disappoint you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and may God bless you.